Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt a strange disconnect with the person staring back at you? It's like there's a part of you that doesn't quite match up with the face you see. A feeling of being lost or unsure about who you really are. You might find yourself asking, why do I feel this way, despite living what seems to be a normal life? This unsettling feeling often comes from a deeper struggle within us, a battle between our true selves and the identities we've built to fit into the world around us. Many of us go through life not realizing that we may be living a story written by others, while our own true story remains hidden. Understanding this is the first step toward discovering who we really are and why we feel the way we do. Today, we dive deep into the profound insights of Carl Jung, one of the most significant figures in depth psychology, who proposed that true life begins only when you embark on a journey to find your authentic self. But what does it really mean to find yourself? Is it just about becoming self-aware, or is there a more intricate, transformative process underlying this idea? By unraveling the hidden forces that shape your identity, you may uncover why so many individuals wander through life without ever truly knowing themselves, and how you can break free from these constraints. Carl Gustav Jung was not just a psychologist. He was a pioneer who ventured far beyond the conventional boundaries of his field. He probed the profound and often complex nature of the psyche, exploring the vast territories of the unconscious. For Jung, psychological well-being wasn't merely about conforming to societal norms. It was a deep journey toward individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. Yet, despite this potential for growth and transformation, most people never embark on the path of self-discovery, remaining imprisoned by an identity shaped by external forces. They chase after approval, thinking happiness is about fitting into predefined molds of success and acceptance, all while feeling a persistent, nagging sense of something missing within. Jung posited that authentic life begins when we cease running from our true selves. But what stops most people from doing so? From the moment you enter the world, conditioning begins. You are given labels shaped by roles dictated by family, culture, and society. You are taught what is right or wrong, what brings reward or punishment. This process is so gradual and subtle that it often goes unquestioned, allowing you to adapt and conform, often suppressing parts of yourself that don't align with these expectations. Reflect for a moment on your childhood. Do you recall moments when your true expression was met with disapproval? Were you told to stop dreaming, to be less sensitive, or to hide certain emotions and desires considered inappropriate? Gradually, you learned to bury those aspects of yourself, creating a facade to survive in society, a persona. Jung referred to this mask as the persona. It's the face you present to the world, allowing you to interact with society while keeping the deeper aspects of your identity hidden. However, this facade comes with a price. The more you identify with the persona, the more you start to lose touch with your authentic self. You may begin to believe that your persona is the entirety of who you are, concealing the profound depth that lies beneath. This concealment creates a shadow aspect, which Jung labeled the shadow. If the persona represents what we show the world, the shadow comprises what we hide from it. The shadow encompasses everything we reject or suppress within ourselves, our fears, unspoken desires, vulnerabilities, and even hidden strengths. The fascinating part? The shadow doesn't simply disappear because we refuse to acknowledge it. It operates covertly beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we often don't realize. Have you ever found yourself intensely disliking someone for reasons you couldn't quite articulate? Or felt triggered by someone's behavior to the point of rage? Jung believed that when we are disturbed by qualities in others, it often indicates that those very qualities reside within us, buried in our own shadow. But what if I told you that the key to genuine self-discovery lies within this shadow? Within the repressed parts of your identity, you can find the missing pieces essential for your wholeness. Jung's profound insight states that psychological growth isn't about eliminating the shadow. It's about integrating it, facing what you have denied and reclaiming it fully. When you embark on this journey of integration, you unlock a wellspring of personal power, authenticity, and liberation. Are you ready to confront the truth of who you truly are? Can you imagine breaking free from the illusions that have constrained you all this time? What follows may challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself, opening the door to a life that genuinely belongs to you. Many people traverse life convinced they know who they are. They define themselves by their names, jobs, cultures, and past experiences. But what if I told you that your identity is far more intricate? What if the self you believe yourself to be is merely a surface-level construct, a fraction of something deeper and more profound? Jung believed that within every individual exists a hidden world, a tapestry woven from forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, unacknowledged desires, and untapped potential. The key to uncovering your true self lies not in creating a new identity, but in rediscovering what has been buried within you. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever experienced an unexplainable yearning for something greater? A sense that a more profound version of yourself is waiting to emerge? It's not just a figment of your imagination. It is the voice of your unconscious beckoning you to something more meaningful. Jung referred to this transformative process as individuation, which requires you to embrace all aspects of yourself, the good and the bad, the light and the dark. However, many people hesitate to embark on this journey of self-confrontation. Why? Because facing oneself can be uncomfortable. It necessitates delving into aspects of your personality that you have long ignored, questioning long-held beliefs, challenging fears, and confronting inner conflicts. Think for a moment. How frequently do you avoid silence? How often do you distract yourself with work, social media, or mindless entertainment to evade facing your thoughts? This constant distraction is not coincidental. It serves as a defense mechanism to protect you from deeper inquiry. Yet, no matter how much you may try to bury these hidden aspects of yourself, they do not fade away. They emerge through anxiety, self-sabotage, unfulfilling relationships, or an innate feeling of being adrift. Jung contended that our unconscious mind is always communicating with us, but we have learned to ignore its subtle messages. However, the moment you begin to pay attention, you start to recognize patterns, how your deepest wounds influence your choices, how your suppressed desires shape your behaviors, and how facing your greatest fears can lead you to profound lessons. Consider the fear of rejection. Many individuals navigate through life terrified of being judged or abandoned, crafting their actions to fit the expectations of others. But where does this fear stem from? Is it truly about what others think, or does it originate from a deeper place, perhaps a childhood wound where you felt unloved or unseen? Jung would argue that this fear is not merely an emotion, it is a shadow aspect that must be brought to light. Only then can it relinquish its hold over your choices and behavior. Imagine for a moment a life devoid of the fear of judgment, a life where you can articulate your truth without hesitation and make choices that resonate deeply within. This is the transformative essence of individuation. It is not about becoming someone else. Rather, it is about reclaiming every part of who you truly are. So, how do you begin this process of uncovering the unconscious forces that shape your life? Jung proposed that one of the most powerful pathways to access the unconscious is through symbols, dreams, and introspection. He viewed dreams as messages from your deeper self, reflecting hidden truths about your psyche, containing vital insights often overlooked in waking life. Moreover, he emphasized the significance of creative expression through art, writing, music, or other forms of self-exploration as a medium to access and integrate the unconscious mind. However, perhaps the most crucial step towards transformation is simple: awareness. The moment you start questioning your thoughts, reactions, and deeply held beliefs, you embark on the path of transformation. When you cease to flee discomfort and instead embrace it with curiosity, you begin to reclaim your true self. Here's the fundamental truth. Many people traverse life as strangers to themselves, confined to paths predetermined by others. They suppress their true nature, failing to recognize that their greatest strength lies in embracing their entire being. You do not have to be one of those individuals. You have the power to dismantle the illusions that have held you captive, shedding layers of conditioning and fear that have kept you from truly engaging with life. You can step boldly into the fullness of who you are, unapologetically and without fear. But our exploration doesn't end here. We now turn to something even more profound, the hidden archetypes that reside within you. These ancient patterns, buried deep in your psyche, hold the key to unlocking your greatest potential. What follows may change your perspective on identity forever. If the journey to finding yourself were as simple as making a choice, everyone would already be living in harmony with their true nature. However, as we've discovered, the process is far more intricate. It is not merely about selecting who you want to be. It's about unearthing the forces that have shaped you, confronting the parts of yourself you have long rejected, and integrating them into a cohesive, authentic identity. But why do we find ourselves captivated by certain behaviors, desires, or fears? Why do we often repeat the same mistakes or find ourselves trapped in familiar patterns, even when we yearn for change? Jung's answer to this question was groundbreaking. He believed that within each individual exist universal patterns, deep-rooted psychological blueprints that unconsciously influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Jung called these archetypes. He theorized that archetypes are collective images housed in what he referred to as the collective unconscious, a dimension of the psyche shared among all humans, inherited from the experiences of our ancestors. These archetypes actively shape our personal identities, relationships, and even our worldview. Consider the classic stories that permeate throughout history: the hero's journey, the wise mentor, the shadowy villain, the innocent child. These characters aren't merely fictional, they symbolize psychological forces that reside within all of us, influencing our lives in profound ways. Whether we are aware of it or not, archetypes inform our choices, behaviors, and motivations. For instance, consider the hero archetype. This part of you yearns for purpose, seeks to overcome obstacles, and strives for growth. However, this archetype doesn't exist in isolation. It constantly interacts with its counterpart, the shadow. The hero in myths must confront the shadow, often represented as a formidable challenge or monster, before they can truly evolve. Now let's examine real life. Have you ever experienced moments of recognition that you needed to change, but something deep inside resisted that call? This internal turmoil embodies the battle between the hero and the shadow, a struggle echoed throughout the human experience. Unfortunately, many people make the mistake of trying to dismiss the shadow instead of seeking to understand it. Imagine if you struggle with self-doubt. Instead of ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist, Jung would encourage you to ask, where does this self-doubt originate? Is it truly yours, or has it been instilled in you through societal expectations, past experiences, or the opinions of others? What lessons might this self-doubt contain? Could it possibly hold hidden strengths, such as humility or the ability to empathize deeply with others? As you begin to view your struggles not as weaknesses, but as valuable messages from your unconscious, your perspective on challenges will shift dramatically. Yet the archetypes do not stop at the hero and the shadow. There are a multitude of forces driving our identities, each playing a significant role. One of the most incredibly potent is the Anima and animus archetypes. Jung proposed that every man possesses a hidden feminine side, the Anima, while every woman embodies a hidden masculine side, the animus. These aren't merely tied to gender in the physical sense. They represent the balance of energies present within us. The Anima embodies intuition, emotion, creativity, and a deep connection to the unconscious. Conversely, the animus represents logic, structure, assertiveness, and determination. When these two forces are harmonized, an individual feels whole and complete. In contrast, when they are out of alignment, inner conflicts arise. For example, a man who dismisses his anima may find it challenging to express his emotions, equating vulnerability with weakness. A woman who neglects her animus may hesitate to assert herself, feeling unsure of her own direction in life. Embracing these energies instead of ignoring them can unlock immense strength and clarity. The overarching truth that Jung uncovered is this: to find yourself, you must embrace all parts of yourself, the light alongside the dark, the masculine with the feminine, the known with the unknown. Individuation is not about crafting a different identity. It is about achieving wholeness. As we approach the culmination of our exploration, we must confront perhaps the most impactful revelation of all. The obstacle to self-discovery may not solely lie in fear, self-doubt, or external pressures. There's a deeper layer: the illusion of self. Most individuals navigate life with the assumption that their identity is static, an unchanging self that progresses through time, molded by past experiences and memories. However, Jung, alongside numerous philosophers and mystics, presented a radical perspective. The self is fluid, ever-changing, and is far greater than we've been led to believe. Consider this: what if the version of you that you cling to as your identity is merely a fragment of a much larger reality, a single expression of a limitless consciousness that has been evolving over centuries? Jung examined this idea through the lens of the self, distinguishing it from the ego-driven self that tenaciously clings to labels and fears. The true self is the totality of your being, extending beyond the facades of identity. This realization can be both liberating and terrifying. It suggests that everything you believe yourself to be, all the fears, limitations, and stories you tell yourself, could be constructs created by the mind. The most profound truth may lie in the understanding that you are not merely a solitary being traversing life. You are a vast, interwoven field of consciousness, carrying within you the collective wisdom of countless generations, the depth of the unconscious, and the potential for transformation beyond your wildest imagination. In light of this perspective, you may wonder why we often feel so constrained. Why do we confront suffering, doubt, and fear? The answer lies in our relationship with the ego. The ego is not the enemy. It is a necessary aspect of the mind that creates a sense of separation. It is the voice within you that states, "This is who I am, and this is who I am not." The ego builds boundaries, establishing roles and identities that tether you to familiar patterns. While it serves a purpose, the ego becomes the most formidable obstacle to self-discovery, keeping you anchored to a singular idea of identity. The essential lesson Jung shared is straightforward yet profound. You are not confined to a singular identity. You are a being in perpetual evolution. The moment you relinquish your attachment to who you believe yourself to be, you open up to an infinite array of possibilities. So how can you navigate beyond the illusion of self and step into the fullness of your existence? Jung offered a path, one that demands courage, profound introspection, and a willingness to surrender everything you have assumed about yourself. First, embrace the unknown. Many individuals harbor an intrinsic fear of the unknown. Its ambiguity signifies uncertainty. However, the unknown is precisely where growth occurs. When you cease resisting the mysteries that dwell within you and approach them with curiosity, you begin to perceive yourself and the world through a rejuvenated lens. Next, release your attachment to labels. You are not merely defined by your name, your profession, your history, or your personality traits. You are something far beyond definition. By letting go of rigid identities, you pave the way for an expansive, limitless version of yourself to emerge. Third, attune yourself to the unconscious. Your dreams, instincts, and deep intuitions are far from random. They are messages from your inner self, guiding you toward wholeness. The more you tune in, the more you will begin to recognize patterns, synchronicities, and signs leading you toward your authentic path. Lastly, surrender to the process. Finding your true self isn't merely an endpoint, it is an ongoing journey. an unfolding of deeper truths and mysteries waiting to be explored. Here lies the ultimate revelation. You were never truly lost. The self you have been seeking has always been within you, waiting to be rediscovered and remembered. Now, the choice lingers before you. Will you continue life stuck as a fraction of who you truly are, bound by outdated fears and illusions? Or will you embrace the unknown, stepping boldly into the limitless being you were always meant to become? Because, as we have seen, life does not truly commence until you uncover your authentic self, and you now possess the tools to embark on this transformative journey.